we're hanging on by a thread. Clemson is a 20-point favorite at Wake Forest. This group's got to improve their picks slightly. We're going to go to Matt DeBerry first. The Taters are a 20-point they're a 20-point favorite on the road at Wake Forest, Matt.
Oh boy, I've been to that game at Wake Forest before, and it was ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, not just on the field.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's an unmentionable, but we're gonna mention it anyway. Listen, Wake Forest stinks, and I don't think I've made my pick yet in the system for this game. I was waiting to hear back on my Clemson buddy what he thought, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the Tigers. They're playing well, even on the road. That place stinks. There's no environment there. Just trust me on that one. Give me the Tigers minus 20, Ryan.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to play a little bit better. Barely covered that line. Dean and I were watching that in the basement last week. I mean, they held on by a thread to cover, like 14 and a half, something like that. I'll take them to cover again. I think that they can do 20 on the road. Like Matt said, this is not something that they should be intimidated by. Get this done.
Yeah, Clemson is getting better. Their quarterback is not. He's about where he was. That's problematic, but I will take them in this game. I'm not a giant fan of Wake Forest is terrible. Penn State travels all the way across the country to go to USC. I do have to wonder, Ryan, the Big Ten has given away some of their marquee games to CBS and NBC. I mean, the best game of the week this week is something we're going to talk about later in the week. It's on NBC, not on Fox. I'm not sure I understand that, but nonetheless, Penn State, almost a touchdown favorite over the Trojans out in L.A.
Yeah, I like Penn State here. I think that USC is just that's kind of what they are to me. It's just I thought it was going to be a little bit better. I don't think that I don't care about the Heisman with Caleb Williams. I don't think that the Lincoln Riley experiment is working down there. Is it too soon to start saying that? I haven't really heard anyone say that yet, but to me it's not working. And as dull as Penn State can be, especially offensively, I think that they can beat what I just think is a not great USC team by a touchdown.
Matt?
I'm going to take the Trojans. Long flight out west. I think this is a big bounce-back game for USC that hasn't looked great. This might be the week Penn State stumbles. They still haven't looked all that great. I think their best win was that 14-point win over Illinois, but they're still not a very good team. This could be a really tricky game for them, and I think Lincoln Riley really needs this one. They may not win it, but I'm going to take USC to cover at home, Dean.
I'm going to take the Trojans as well. Just don't trust either of these guys. Neither of them are great.
Bless you.
About vomited thinking of both of these head coaches. South Carolina is a 21-point dog at Alabama. You know what, y'all? I don't know that I have a great feel for this game at all. I'm going to take Alabama. I think it's kind of a dumb pick in a way, but South Carolina shouldn't be able to hang with Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I don't know. I'm not real confident about it, but I don't know where we're at with Alabama. I feel like I know Carolina a little bit, Ryan. I'm not sure I understand Alabama quite yet, other than they're a total roller coaster.
Yeah, I definitely don't know about Carolina. I don't think that's a team we could say we know a lot about. That just seems like an up and down team to me. With Alabama, I don't know how they're going to respond to what happened last week. It just doesn't happen, right? When Alabama has lost in the regular season during the Nick Saban era, they were losing to Texas A&M. They were losing to Ole Miss. A lot of times these were ranked teams or these were big matchups. This is different, and Nick Saban's not around. We just saw how Georgia fans, a little bit, as part of this, reacted to an Alabama loss, and not a great environment against Auburn at Sanford Stadium last week. This is at noon. This is at 11 p.m. really, or 11 a.m. really for those Alabama fans. Are they going to get up and be excited after what they watched last week? After seeing their captain on defense do what he did? After, they're making fun of Kalen DeBoer wearing a T-shirt, right at the game. They're making fun of their coach. So I've got South Carolina big line. I've been taking a lot of teams to cover big lines. I'll take South Carolina plus 21.
Yeah, I'm going to take Carolina too. They're just so Jekyll and Hyde. Everyone thinks they're going to get blown out. I think this is a game where they still surprise people and they probably play better than they should. I think Alabama's still in shock early time. They'll win, but that's a lot of points still. And Alabama's defense, I think, is clearly not very good. I think that's safe to say. I think it's been a tough week for South Carolina. Really bad loss. I think they're going to be energized and ready to play. I'm going to take them to lose, but to cover the spread.
Yeah, I think that's the toughest game this week, to be honest with you. A lot of these other ones are tough, but not like that one. I'm not sure. Red River rivalry, Matt. Texas and Oklahoma for the first time in the Southeastern Conference at the Cotton Bowl. The Sooners are a 14-point dog. This game will be on ABC at 3:30.
Yeah, rivalry game. I think it's going to be close. I think Oklahoma is going to give them a real fight. 14 points, just a little too much for me. I think Texas is the better team. I like Oklahoma's running backs, even though their running game hasn't been great. I think defensively, they'll stay in this game. I'm expecting a fight, one of the biggest rivalries in college football, Ryan. I think it's a little disrespectful to put this one at 14. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it'll be a little tighter than the experts think. Give me the Sooners plus 14.
I don't think Oklahoma's very good, especially not on the offensive side of the ball. Not a great quarterback situation. And on the other side, you're getting one of the best quarterbacks in college football back. Maybe the best quarterback in college football back in Quinn Ewers. So I like Texas here. I know it's a big line. I know that even in years where Oklahoma was definitely better than Texas, the game ended up close and vice versa. And it's kind of one of those games. But I think Texas puts on a show and beats the Sooners by more than a couple touchdowns. And to me, it's a little bit more about Oklahoma than it is about Texas.
I've got Texas here. I just think Oklahoma is just not good offensively, and I think that's going to be challenging when you talk about what Texas in theory can do. I think Texas has their own issues, but I'm not sure on this one that they are going to have enough issues to cover up. Oklahoma they could have lost to Auburn. They probably should have lost to Auburn, so that was probably not a great look. The shadows are working on me. I wonder what will work in this game that doesn't have a nickname, but Ole Miss and LSU is actually one of the biggest rivalries in that part of the conference. It's sort of like saying Lindsey Scott with Billy Cannon. The Rebels are a 3.5-point favorite at LSU. And let me just tell y'all something. Typically, I would go with the better team. I don't like LSU. I don't. But I actually think I'm going to take them to win this game. It's really tough to play at Death Valley at night. I don't trust Ole Miss a lot. Ryan, I've got the Tigers.
I don't trust either of these teams.
I should have said that.
They're just not trustworthy, right?
No.
They haven't been, and that's just what we've seen.
Buy gold!
Season. Yeah. This was an interesting game last year where LSU was favored and Ole Miss ended up beating them in Oxford. I think that I'm going to go with LSU. At night, it's that home field advantage. I do think that Ole Miss is a little bit better. I thought they were going to be more explosive on offense when they got to SEC play, and that hasn't happened yet. So I've been a little bit surprised on that front. I do think Ole Miss has the pieces to have an elite offense in college football, but we only saw that against the Cupcakes. And so I don't like that, and I don't like them going on the road in a hostile environment against a team that, if they put it together, can have a really good game and beat you.
Yeah, I'm going to take LSU too. I just don't want to be an idiot and pick Ole Miss in a Death Valley at night and end up losing. So I'm not going to overthink it. Death Valley at night. LSU needs to really get it going. Brian Kelly, they got to start getting it together. I think this would be a really big win. And I think I said in the system that I like LSU to win the game as well. I'm not sure, but
we're kind of I think this is like the global sign of pick Ole Miss. Like we're way too hard in on them. That's, you have been warned. The Gators go to Tennessee. We're really hoping everything winds up okay with this hurricane. It's looking rough for Florida. The Gators go up to Neyland. This is an important game for Tennessee. I've got Florida because it's a lot of points, Matt. I think Tennessee wins. Tennessee and Alabama, these are important moments in their seasons because, Florida can beat Tennessee. I don't see that, but Florida can do it because Tennessee just can't seem to score in conference play suddenly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I see the same thing going on in this game. Florida's looks like they're playing their best. Tennessee coming, shock, right? They're shocked they lost to Arkansas. It'll be weird, kind of. We'll see how that environment is and how loud that place can be, but just too many points there. So yeah, I think Florida is going to come in. They have nothing to lose. Tennessee's got all the pressure on them. If they lose another game before Alabama and Georgia, they're in real trouble. Florida's got nothing to lose. I could see them going up there and throwing the kitchen sink at them and keeping this one really close. I'm going to pick the Gators to cover.
I think Tennessee bounces back. Now, this is not me having faith in Tennessee, but I do think they're good enough to just beat a bad Florida team. This is in Knoxville, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Vols. I'm not saying I told you so yet about Tennessee. I don't think that they're that great. The hype was definitely too much at the start of the season, but Florida's a disaster. So I'm going to go with Tennessee in this game.
Yeah, disaster is a good way to put it. Ohio State travels out to Oregon on NBC. I do not know. I'm going to write about this more in our actual picks on the site. I don't know how these really good games are getting all the way to NBC. It shouldn't be happening, Ryan. Ohio State's a 3-point favorite over the Ducks on the road. Just one last caveat, Ryan. This line has shifted about 6 points since the summer. So there's a lot of concern about Oregon, but they do host, and they are undefeated.
Yeah, we're finally going to get – hopefully we're going to finally see Ohio State challenged a little bit, right? And I think it was Bowling Green or someone like that challenged them a little bit in the first quarter a few weeks ago. Marshall, right? Yeah. Oregon hasn't been as good as everyone thought. They were, I believe, the third betting favorite to win the national championship heading into the season. Dillon Gabriel really pulled away as the Heisman favorite right before the season started. After it was this tight race between him, Beck, and Ewers, all of a sudden he pulled away and it hasn't been as good. And look at Florida State and look at some other teams. Building a team mostly through the portal is not going to bring you immediate success. And that's what's happening a little bit at Oregon. But I do think that they have good coaching. They have good players in place. I don't think that Ohio State blows them out, but I do think they cover the 3-point line. At the end of the day, it's the best roster in college football, and I think that's going to carry them pretty far.
Yeah, I just think Ohio State's better. I think Dillon Gabriel could have some real issues against their defense if he doesn't play better. He can put the ball into dangerous situations, and if they turn the ball over, they're not winning this game at all. I like Ohio State's running game. I think Jeremiah Smith is just an absolute superstar. I just think Ohio State's playing better right now. I think they go over there and, they're not going to blow Oregon out, but could see a nice, comfortable win. So I'm going to take the Buckeyes, Dean.
Yeah, I think 3's too low. Ohio State's going to – the schedule's just not challenging, and it's just what it is. Michigan's bad. So you basically have this game, I think Penn State, and there might be one more, and that's about it. So in other words, Georgia could play 3 difficult games in their first 5, and Ohio State maybe play 3 the whole season. So it is what it is, and I think Ohio State very likely coming into this thing is going to be the 1 seed if they're undefeated coming out of the Big Ten Championship. So, but this is an important game. Ohio State, I think. I would want to get a better start than they have. For all the discussion of Georgia's slow starts, Ohio State has been painfully slow sometimes this season. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes this season. State comes into Athens. Look, they're a 34-point dog in this game. I like State. Here's why. You could absolutely see Georgia win this game 43-10 or something, and it'd be a complete bloodbath. And you don't notice it, Matt, and they don't cover. So 5 touchdowns, look, I don't care. This is a league game. 5 touchdowns, not the way the offense is playing at Georgia right now. Other offenses, maybe 5 touchdowns, I get a little bit jumpy.
Yeah, I mean, Texas didn't cover at home. They're supposed to be better than Georgia, right? Just too many points. I think, Georgia should be able to run the ball, which could, get that clock moving a little bit. If Mississippi State can move the ball even a little bit, pick up some first downs, they're going to try to slow the game down. It could be a situation where Georgia, might get 3 possessions in the first half alone. We've seen those type of games. So, again, I think Georgia fans get a little too enamored with some folks in Vegas, how they think about the Dogs, and it doesn't matter. I think Georgia gets a solid, comfortable win, but it's just a lot of points for me. And I think if they go up 24, it's in the fourth quarter, you got the backups in. They're going to milk and get this game out, hopefully, because I'd like to get home and watch the other games. So I think Kirby wants to as well. So we'll see. Georgia, big win, Ryan, but I'm going to take Mississippi State to cover with the points.
Yeah, I've had the hardest time with picking this game actually out of all of them, because this kind of feels like the week to me where Georgia is gonna just blow the other team out of the water. But I'm going Mississippi State, and it's for the reason that Dean said. The offense is just not playing at an elite level, and I think that's gonna ultimately hurt them in scoring a ton of points. I do think it's totally possible that they come close to shutting Mississippi State out, and that's kind of how they end up covering this line. But I think they went around 30. I've got to take Mississippi State here. I take Georgia to cover these big lines too often. I'm not doing it this week.
Yeah, the mistake will not be made consistently. We'll make mistakes, but not all the time. We're not that dumb. But I think if you watch this close enough, that means you take Georgia to cover. I think that means you take Ole Miss, right? I think there's another one, too. I can't remember.
Take Oregon.
Take Oregon to stomp Ohio State. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I want to see Georgia, though, this week, and I know we're going to get off right now, but I do want to just see – I don't care if they cover. I don't care if they're functional necessarily. What I mean to say is I want them to see, they should be functional. And there's nothing wrong with punting. But just be functional. The Auburn game was slow. State can be the same way, which means you got to be very efficient. And we'll just see. But I want to see functionality the whole time. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website. Sign up for the newsletter.